Hey everybody, this is Paul from Forge the Narrative. If you haven't already, please like, share, comment, and stuff down below. That's what helps people find the channel, and I really appreciate you tuning in for these article recaps. Today we got an article on the Warhammer community site, and that link's going to be in the description for how infantry behave. Now, it's not just infantry. They threw a teaser in here about how that walkers, bikes, and vehicles can't hug cover as well as infantry. Now, we knew that, but they're telling us even more about that. I'm willing to bet we're going to see things like you're not going to be able to tow in cover anymore. You're going to have to actually be obscured for some of these larger things, but maybe infantry are going to be able to hug it even more, like maybe even go to ground. Maybe they get a bonus for being obscured. We don't know yet. Remember, we're only getting a conversation about the rule. We're getting somebody's anecdotes about the rule, not the hardline rule itself. That's important with all of these. It was confirmed that they're retiring the whole strength 10 row, 10 column strength versus toughness thing. So now everything can wound everything else. It says if the strength is half or less than the target's toughness, then you're going to need to roll a 6 on a d6 to wound things. Now we know that rolling 6s, while it is only a 1 in 6 opportunity, it seems like they come up in the most inopportune time. So, it seems pretty far-fetched that we're going to see a platoon of lasguns or even, grots shooting down a land raider. But, I bet everybody's going to have stories about that. And I don't mind. If you think about it, it's kind of like the Dawn of War video game in previous editions, maybe even this one here, to where, a bolt of Marines, given enough time, can gun down a building or something else. And I don't even necessarily mind that aesthetic of things. I think it's going to play out to where there'll be times when it really matters, and you may get lucky, and there are going to be times that you need to get lucky to even make the game competitive. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch and hear stories about as we unfold in this edition. The hugest takeaway here is that models in a unit will be able to fire at different targets. I think we can mean, or have this be a takeaway to mean, that you're probably going to be able to declare groups of models. Now, this was not confirmed. It says models can fire. Heck, for all we know, a group of 10 Space Marines could all fire at 10 different targets. But what I believe is we'll see that weapons in a group will probably be able to fire at different targets. So let's say you've got a plasma gunner, a las cannon, and 8 bolters in a squad. You'll be able to fire the las cannon at one thing, the plasma gun at another, and then the bolters at something else altogether. Maybe if the sergeant has a combi flamer or something, you can fire it off that way. I'm only assuming here. I'm guessing about this. No confirmations. But this brings a lot of power and actual tactics to maybe how you equip your squads, where I don't know that we saw tactics play a whole lot before into how you actually equip the squads, because you were forced to almost be a single-use tool. Like the advice that I gave Devastators or people that wanted to take Devastators in previous editions was, don't give yourself weapon confusion. Like if you had 2 las cannons and 2 heavy bolters, you weren't going to get use out of all that. You were going to either be wasting the las cannon shots or wasting the heavy bolter shots, depending on what you were giving yourself target confusion. And here, we're not going to have that. I think that's pretty exciting. And things like a guard platoon, like, oh my goodness, an Astra Militarum platoon that can have, now, if it exists in the same way, 50 dudes. You got 40 of them with las cannons, 5 plasma cannons, and 5 las cannons. You're going to be able to really, I guess, threaten different areas of the board. And, we're all worried about how MSU is going to be, multiple small units is going to be something that people have to worry about. And here, well, if every squad has split fire, and not even just you can fire another target, if you can fire at 3 or 4 or 5 different targets with your army, that's going to create some real confusing situations for how do people deploy against it. When do they get aggressive? I think this is a big boost to how shooting works. We were talking about how assault and combat and that kind of stuff and the fight phase works in a previous video, but this is pretty dynamic, and I think we're going to see, like, even the vet squads come back in chimeras. I cannot wait to see how people make lists and how we can make lists to take advantage of this. And I bet it's going to make some of these units that maybe we didn't consider before become a lot more attractive when they can actually split up their fire, like Death Watch. I know we're talking a lot about Marines, but this is pretty interesting. And maybe even fire dragons with a fire pike. Death Spinners, maybe as who knows? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for tuning in. This has been really cool to break down, and we're going to keep doing it as we get information and do more stuff about 8th edition as we move forward. Check out the podcast that we're going to do. It's going to be released every Thursday or Friday, depending on when it gets fully edited and put up on this channel as well. And we're about to release an Age of Sigmar stuff. So anyway, thanks for the subscriptions, and don't forget to like and comment.